participants. Welcome, everyone. Hope you're all doing well, staying safe and healthy. Thank you so much for jumping on today's Zoom. I'm really excited. This is our introduction launch of a series of webinars that I partnered up with JK Moving to put out for everyone to hopefully give you some helpful tips and advice and help everyone get through this difficult time that we're in. So I'll explain, how the process is going to work with the webinars, the replays, the surveys for your feedback and all of that. But first, I just wanted to say that, I understand this entire COVID-19 situation has been very stressful for a lot of people, but the upside is that it's actually allowing people to spend more time at home with family and enjoy things that they probably weren't enjoying before. I have a lot of people telling me that now I get to go for a walk and now I have time for self-care, or I have time to spend with my kids and grandkids. So it's really nice to hear the upside to everything that's been happening. And also it's a time for regrouping and reprioritizing, kind of like hitting the reset button, as well as healing, because a lot of us were in the direction of burnout, and that's never a good thing. It still has its challenges. People are kind of scattered still, not able to adjust fully to the new normal. And essentially, we're all fighting a common enemy. We're all sharing in the same fight. We're trying not to get sick. We want to come out stronger on the other side of it all. And we just have to be a united front and come together during this time and support each other. So this is a way that we thought would be nice to kind of bring the community together and allow this platform to be a nice safe space for everyone to come and get some tips on how to manage through this time. Also vent if you need to, but an area where you feel like you're not alone, because I know a lot of people are at home alone and they just don't have this type of connection. So hopefully this will serve as that avenue for you. And the way we're going to do it is that every Wednesday, we're going to come live on Zoom at 12 o'clock Eastern time. So this is kind of like a short break from your hectic day, just to come on and get some positive tips and some inspiration to hopefully improve your quality of life. I'll be covering a variety of topics, anything from helping you get organized and stay organized when you're working from home, once you set up that home office. Some people are doing makeshift offices. I'll tell you my story. So I'm sheltering in place at my parents' house, and I had to make a makeshift office for myself. So I was moving the desk around into different areas, of the home to see what would work best, because I don't have a dedicated office in here. And I actually tried to set up my own green screen the other day, and I have a funny time-lapse video. If we have time, I'll share that with you at the end. But it didn't work quite so well. Let's just say that. I wanted to set up a green screen to have a fun virtual background behind me. So hopefully this background is nice enough. But things like that happen, you just kind of have to go with it and have fun with it. But, I'll cover a few tips on how to best make Zoom work for you, some best practices, do's and don'ts of Zoom. And then throughout the upcoming weeks, I'll talk about ways to manage stress and how to find work-life balance, because we all need to stay healthy and maintain our sanity and activate our inner calm. So like I said, we'll be doing all of this on Zoom. I want it to be interactive as much as possible. And does everyone hear me okay? I had someone just put in a comment that my audio and video is buffering a little bit. If anyone else is having an issue, please write in to the chat. Hopefully, Rich, you'll be able to hear me fine soon. Okay, good. People are saying all good. I can hear you fine. No issues. Your sound is fine. Okay, good. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me better in a bit, Rich, but thanks for bringing that to my attention. So on Zoom, I want it to be interactive, just like you all are doing right now. Right into the chat, and and go ahead and let me know if you have any concerns, any challenges that you want me to address, and I'll address them live. And also, we will be sending out a survey at the end for everyone who joined the Zoom, and we'll be asking for your feedback. What was your favorite part? What were your takeaways? And what kind of topics do you want me to talk about in the upcoming sessions? Some of the topics that I would like to discuss in the upcoming sessions are setting up your workspace and getting organized to work from home, as I mentioned. Setting boundaries with your family, because that's always important. Sometimes people think that we're just on vacation. We might be in the other room kind of, closed off and trying to get our work done, but someone might come in and, hey mom, hey dad, I have a question for you, not realizing that we're actually working. So it's really important to know how to set those boundaries. Another good one that I like is dressing like you're going into the office, just to get you motivated. And you don't feel like you're just lounging around in your pajamas all day long. Another topic is how to maintain focus amongst all the distractions, because it's so easy, especially since you're at home, to just get up and say, oh, let me do the dishes now, or I need to take out the trash, and forget that you're actually in your work day. Another topic is going to be maintaining or juggling to be able to maintain your work-life balance, and how to do that in a healthy way. We'll also talk about how it's important not to neglect your health and nutrition and exercise while you're at home, making sure that you relax and take enough breaks so you're not working overtime, and having a nice schedule and a routine, and then making time for yourself so you can maintain your sanity and be healthy for others around you and be able to serve others in the way that you want to. So does anyone have any questions for me so far? Let me go to the chat window. Okay. Dell is saying, my son doesn't understand I'm at work and walks in during Zoom calls and asks me questions. Yes, that happens all the time. Okay. Someone, Beth said, we are losing you. Maybe if people turn off their video, that might help. Is anyone having any issues right now with my video or my sound going in and out? Okay. Dell says, no issues here in Ashburn. Okay, Ginny, no issues. Renee, no issues. All good here. Everything is clear. Okay, I turned off my video to help. Okay, good. All right, most people seem to be hearing me and seeing me well. If you are having any issues seeing me or hearing me, then see if you can turn off your video, if that would help. I know sometimes a reboot would help. So if you need to do that and jump back on, please feel free to do that. I've had to do that before when I was on someone else's webinar, and that seemed to help for me. And also, we'll be sending you a replay afterwards. So if you did have any issues on the live, don't worry, because following this, you'll get a link to the replay as well as a link to the survey that I mentioned. Okay. Any other questions for me so far? All right. If there are no questions, then I want to jump in to the best practices of how to do and not to do a Zoom. And I'll share with you, there was recently a really funny skit. I think it was Saturday Night Live. They were showing a group of coworkers on their first Zoom call. Right in the chat window, if you saw the skit that I'm referring to. It was hilarious because there were a couple of people on their call that just had never done a Zoom before, and one person was about to pick up her laptop and just take it into the bathroom with her, and that's a big no-no. And another person had their face right up in the camera, and that's a big no. So it's always important to understand that when your camera is on, everyone can see you. Everyone. Okay, Lisa says she saw that skit. Okay, wasn't that awesome? So make sure that you are dressed appropriately for the call, because like I said, everyone can see you. make sure that you are not eating while you're talking, and mute your line until you want to speak, because people can hear all kinds of things in the background. I've been on so many webinars before where I can hear people's dogs barking and kids kind of crying, and sometimes you hear someone knocking on their door, and it gets distracting for everyone else. So that's a big no-no, is to have your microphone on when you're doing a Zoom. Make sure that you find a quiet place to participate when you have your online meeting, so you minimize those distractions. And tell your family that you can't be disturbed, because like I said, they might not realize that you're in a meeting. You might have your door closed and they might be used to that by now, but they might not necessarily know you're in a meeting. And if they come in, that can cause a distraction. And most importantly, remember that people can see the space around you too. So while it's important to dress appropriately, and for some that means putting on pants, because I know sometimes people like to sit in their shorts or boxers, and they might have a nice, shirt up top, but then they don't have pants on the bottom. And I know it's funny to say, but it has happened. So you just never know. You might get up to go grab the door and not realize that, you're still on camera. So make sure that you are dressed appropriately and the space around you looks nice and neat, because people can see that as well. Let me see, a couple people have comments. Dell says it happens all the time. Every Zoom meeting has the potential to be a skit. Yes, it certainly does. Rich says, do you feel that a Zoom meeting is as effective as a face-to-face meeting? That's a really good question, Rich. Actually, I'm one to always prefer face-to-face, because I love to have that connection with the person. When I'm on a Zoom meeting, while I can see everyone's faces and while we can still interact through chat, people are on mute for the most part, and you can't necessarily see everyone unless you scroll through all the little thumbnails or squares where people are, their video is up. So it's not quite the same. However, I feel like it is one of the most effective online platforms. Does anyone have any experience with another online platform that they really prefer other than Zoom? I just happen to really love the way Zoom lets you share a screen, and you can show people if you're working on a document, which is really good, because a lot of people are doing meetings and they still need to share presentations and documents with their colleagues. So I really like that feature. Make sure that your camera is at eye level and not down low. Yes, Rich, that's very important. Raise up your laptop on a platform or stack of books. Yes, because sometimes what happens is, and I'll just demonstrate right now, it looks like this, right? And right now you can only see the top of my head. So I've seen that on a lot of people's videos when I'm doing Zoom, and sometimes it's really down low. So you can see, from neck down. So just make sure that you look at yourself in the camera and on the screen. If you have a document up and you can't see your window, then you can't see what you look like. So it's kind of like a mirror. Jump on a few minutes before the Zoom, look at yourself in that mirror, make sure everything looks good, and then go live. Okay, let's see. All right, and also there is a feature where you can message privately, just so you all know. So if you had anything that you wanted to send someone on the chat window in private, you can go to the bottom of your chat window where there's a to field. And then when you click on that, it shows you the list of all the attendees. Okay, and you can just click on that attendee's name, and next to their name will pop up the word privately in parentheses in red, and then you're safe to type your message if you want to send them a private message. Okay, and Renee says, I've been using Teams and really like that experience, although it may be limited on number of people that can participate. Okay, yes, that is true. I do know that with the enterprise license of Zoom, you have about 200 people, which is a good number of people. And a lot of other platforms out there do have a limitation on the number of attendees. Pastel also says Zoom is great, but Microsoft Teams works well. Okay, excellent. Carrie asks, are private chats saved by the meeting host? Okay, if the meeting is recorded. I don't believe so because I've never had private chats come through. Now, that's a good question though, because I have had someone ask before how they can save the chats if they wanted to actually see what other people had said and go back and reference them later. And the way to do that is to go down to the bottom of the chat window. Does everyone see a little button that says more with an arrow? If you see that and you click on the more, the option to save chat is there. And typically I recommend people click on the save chat right after the Zoom has finished, before everyone jumps off, because that way you'll get the most recent chat transcript. If you do it halfway through, then make sure you do it again at the end. Or if you have to jump off halfway through, then that is at the point where you need to save your chat before you jump off. Okay, Studio B Pilates is saying 3 dots at the bottom has save chat as option. Yes, as I mentioned, it might look different for some people. I'm on a Mac, so this might be a Mac feature where you see the more at the bottom of the chat window, and when you click on the arrow, the down arrow next to more. Does anyone else have a Mac who's on the call right now? Let me know if you have a Mac and if you see the more option, and then you can click on save chat from there. If you don't have a Mac, you might see the 3 dots option to save the chat. Okay, and there might also be a difference, as Studio B Pilates pointed out just now, in the web version or the app version. So if you are dialing in from your computer versus from your phone, or maybe you're going straight to the website, Zoom website, and not using an app at all, there might be a difference. So type in the chat window and let me know what version you're using. Are you on your iPad, iPhone? Are you dialing in from your laptop? And then are you using the actual app, or are you straight on the website? And then that'll help differentiate where people might see differences. But that's how you save a chat. Okay, does anyone else have any questions about that chat feature so far? All right, Audrey is on the website on Windows computer. Okay, Audrey, do you see the 3 dots, or do you see the more option that I was referencing? Carrie's on a laptop on a PC inside the Zoom app, and she has the 3 dots. Okay, good. And once you hover over the dots, you see more. Okay, excellent. And then you can see the save chat, correct? Okay, Audrey sees the 3 dots. Okay, good. Yes, you see the save chat. Rich is using desktop, using website. Okay, good. So hopefully everyone by now has figured out how to do the save chat. Now, I covered the important things to do and not do on Zoom. And next thing I want to do is show you guys how to do a share screen. I realize a lot of people on this call may already be well accustomed to doing a lot of online meetings by now, because we are a few weeks into the quarantine. But for some people, it's a brand new experience. So bear with me for those of you who already know how to do this. I'm going to share my screen right now. Okay. Now, does everyone see my screen? Write in the chat window if you cannot see my screen. Okay, good. Looks like some people can see my screen. Now, can people see the bar that I have across the top of the screen? Or it might be at the bottom of your screen, depending on where it's kind of hidden. For me, I have to hover over it, and the bar drops down from the top of my screen. And it has a mute, a stop video, participants, new share, pause if you're already sharing, annotate, and remote control. So when you see the share, it's kind of like a lime green folder with an arrow, up arrow on it. When you click on that, it gives you the option to then select your desktop that you want to share, okay? And that's what I've done, and that's why you can see my desktop right now, okay? And then you can open up any document you want or any PowerPoint presentation, whatever you need to share, and people will see it right there on the desktop. So for instance, if I open up this, right, and now we have a Zoom window, and now I'm going to Google Maps and you can see everything on my screen. Okay, so you can share website pages, you can share documents, presentations, anything. When you want to stop the share, you click on the red stop share button. And I'm going to do that now. And now I'm no longer sharing. Okay, does anyone have any questions about that? The other thing I wanted to mention is that you all can do a raise hand feature, which is kind of fun. If you click on the participants icon at the bottom or at the top, wherever your Zoom control bar is, it's the picture of two heads kind of back to back, and it says participants. If you click on that, the list of participants come up, and you can click on yourself and pick raise hand, or you might see a raise hand option at the bottom. So if you all want to give that a try, you can click on raise hand, and then you'll see little blue hands going up. Oh, great. I'm seeing all kinds of little blue hands going up now. Excellent. Yes. And then you can click on lower hand after that, and then your hand goes down. So that's another way if someone has a question. I personally prefer, because not everyone is going to be looking at that little hand icon, so I personally prefer just typing in the chat window, because that pops up very quickly, and then you can answer questions that way if you're ever doing a meeting. Okay. The other thing I wanted to share is the virtual backgrounds, which is really fun. So let me share my screen again. And then you all can see how to change a virtual background. Type in the chat window if you've already played around with virtual backgrounds. Okay. Excellent. So does everyone see my control bar at the top? Next to video, where it says stop video, because we're all on video right now, there's a down arrow. When you click on that, there is a choose a virtual background option. Let's click on that. Okay, then the settings window pops up, and you have the option to either keep it on none, so you have no virtual background. As you can see, I have the regular wall behind me, or you have the option to pick some fun backgrounds, and I've uploaded 3 of my own. So the ones that come with Zoom, and I imagine you all have the same that come with Zoom by default, it's this, which I believe is the Golden Gate Bridge. But do you all see how funny that looks when I do it? So on some systems, it actually works better, and some it doesn't. So I wanted to have a fun virtual background for us, but it doesn't work so well on my system, which is why I was trying to set up a green screen, but that didn't work too well either. So that's just something that might work for some of you all, and it's fun to try if it does work. Then we've got this, which is kind of like, you know, a nice bamboo forest. And then we've got this, so we're in outer space. And the ones that I uploaded were some mountain and lake and beach backgrounds, which are really nice and fun. Again, if it works for you, then that would be a fun thing to try. So I'm gonna go back to none, so you can see me and I don't look like an alien to you. Let me close that, and I'm gonna stop share. Okay, let me see, I've got a few comments here. Miriam is saying, I've been on one Zoom meeting before and I didn't realize all these options. I'm learning so much. Oh, awesome, you're welcome. Kelly is saying, I have tried virtual but still not working for me. Okay, good. What do you think about Zoom, Kelly? Darlene says, me too, I use it daily. Okay, excellent. All right. Okay, anyone else have any questions about virtual backgrounds or anything that I've covered so far? Raising a hand, doing a chat, saving a chat. muting and unmuting yourself, turning video on and off. Any questions? I just wanted to make sure I covered. Zoom has so many interesting features, and I'm learning as I go along too and playing with different things. But these are the very basic features that I think would make your Zoom meeting very successful, even if it's not a meeting and you're just doing a little online session with family and friends. I think it's fun to be able to share things. So you can hit share and automatically, share some photos in your gallery if you want. Okay. Yes, Carla is saying they have great informational videos. You can always go on Zoom and check out some of their informational videos and look at some of the other fun features. Audrey is saying, how did you know where to save the alternate background photos? Oh, good question. So let me go back to that since Audrey brought up a good point. And I'm going to share my screen again. Okay. So now, when I go back to the down arrow next to my video icon and click on choose a virtual background, what you can do right next to where it says choose a virtual background underneath your own image, there's a plus sign, okay? I clicked on that plus sign and it brought me straight to my folder window, okay? And then from there, I was able to select whatever image I had downloaded or my own personal, images if I wanted a personal image, maybe a family photo behind me. I haven't quite done that yet, but you have the option to pick any image you want. And as soon as you click on it, I don't have a new image to upload now, but as soon as you click on it and click on the open, in this case, I have an open option. You might have an OK option. When you click on that, it automatically populates it down here on your virtual background section. Okay, so you'll have another one there to choose from. And when you click on it, immediately it will change your virtual background. It's that easy. And then you can go back to none. Now, the reason I have a green screen selected at the bottom of my window is because my laptop, even though it's a new Mac, it's less than a year old, it didn't meet the requirements that Zoom has for whatever reason for a virtual background, unless I selected I have a green screen. In other words, without selecting this, I would get this option. Computer doesn't meet requirements, and none of these I could even click on to show you what they look like. So I have to click on I have a green screen, even though I don't, and then click on the virtual background, and that will come up behind me. So for those of you who have an actual production grade green screen, if your computer does not meet the requirements, you can put your green screen up. And when you click on I have a green screen and select a virtual background, it should actually look normal instead of like mine. So you can see the interference and then my face, which kind of looks funny. I did one the other day where I was kind of going in and out and testing it, and then I had like the sky in my eyes. So I look like a total alien, but it looked kind of cool at the same time. Okay, so I'm going to stop the share once again and go back to the chat window. Let's see. Okay. When you are a participant, can you do a virtual background? Oh, that's a good question, Rich. Why don't you give it a try? If everyone wants to try changing a virtual background now, and we'll see how that looks. And while you're doing that, I'm going to go back and remove this virtual background. I thought I did, but I did not. Okay. So why don't you all give it a try and see, type in the chat window if you just changed your virtual background. Oh, Jeffrey Varsky, I see you changed your virtual background to the bridge. So that works. So yay. That's a yes to Rich's question. Okay, let's see. Any other questions? Yes, Dell is asking, how do we avoid Zoom fatigue since sometimes I'm on it all day? Oh, I hear you. I feel that way too. I actually honestly felt by the time Saturday rolled around, I felt like I had technology poisoning because I was on Zoom after Zoom after Zoom all day. Screens are never good on the eyes, and they're never good for our brains if we're in front of a screen all day long. So I recommend, if you don't have much of a break in between meetings, at the very least, turn off your video if you're not the one speaking in a Zoom meeting, and just close your eyes and put your head down and just take a few deep breaths. And that's really helped me. And then when you feel like you've rested your eyes and kind of, taken a few deep breaths to feel a little bit more energized, you can turn your video back on. Or if you don't have to be sitting in front of the computer for the entire time, you can walk around. You can still hear them, but turn off your video so it doesn't look rude that you just got up and walked away. And then take a little walk around your home, around your room, go out of the room, grab something to drink, come back, and then get back on your meeting. And I realize some people don't have the luxury of taking a real break in between meetings. So this is the solution that I came up with, at least for myself, when I needed to take breaks. Okay, let's see. So Miriam has a question. She asked earlier, but was apparently sending it to someone privately without realizing it. Oops, okay. Is there any option to prevent receiving phone calls? I use my cell phone for Zoom. Yes, actually, there is a way to, and I know I've come across it, but I've not tried it for myself. If anyone knows that right off the top of your head, I don't want to take everyone's time to figure that out right now, but I will promise after this, I will figure it out and send it out to you all. I believe I came across an option where you could actually turn off notifications or distractions, kind of like a do not disturb. And I know I did that for my notifications that were coming through my phone, but for Zoom, within Zoom itself, and I turn them off on my laptop, but within Zoom itself, I need to see where I can find that feature, and I will send that out. But that's a great question, Miriam. Okay, Rich is saying when you use a Zoom background, it reverses your image. Yes, exactly. That's what was happening to me. Not everyone has that problem though, because Jeffrey's image looks just fine. I can see his face. I can see, hey Jeffrey, I can see his bridge background. Did you have that experience, Rich, when you did yours? It could be the requirements too on the system that you're using. Okay, Ginny is saying, yes, you can. Okay, excellent. And I think you're answering the question about turning off notifications, phone call notifications, if you're dialing in from your phone. Ginny, if you are also on a phone and you know how to do that, please share it in the chat window so that anyone who's dialing in from their phone can turn off their phone calls from disturbing their Zoom call. Okay, Rich is asking, where do you find the virtual background button? Okay, Rich, so at the bottom or at the top of your Zoom window, wherever your panel of options is, there is your microphone, which allows you to mute and unmute. There's also your video icon, which allows you to turn and turn off your video. Next to either one of those, I think it's quicker if you click on the arrow right next to video, then you'll see an option that says choose a virtual background. That'll take you to a window where you have some built-in default backgrounds that Zoom offers, and you can click on any one of those, or you can upload your own background by clicking on the plus button inside that choose your virtual background window. Give that a try, Rich, and tell me if that works for you. Hey, Carrie Johnson, I see your beach background. That's my favorite background. I wish I could get it to work for me, but it doesn't, so I'm glad you're enjoying it. Oh, Carla is saying blue light blocking glasses. Okay, so that's to, I believe, Dell's question earlier about how to prevent Zoom fatigue. That's a good one. Try some blue light blocking glasses if you have those, or if you're able to get your hands on those. Yes, Miriam said the same thing. Blue light eyeglasses work. Okay, good. All right, and on an iPad, Jeffrey is saying, click on top of the screen on the right, you should see more. Click on this and look for virtual background. Okay, great, excellent. Okay, good. So it sounds like some of you are getting a hang of the virtual background. It's really fun once you get into it. Okay, so if any of you have any more questions, please feel free to send them through chat. Otherwise, we do have an email account set up specifically for questions about this webinar series. It is called askmichelle@, jkmoving.com. I'm going to send it in the chat window now so you all can see that email address. Okay. And I'll respond to any of your questions. If you didn't get a chance to ask them today, I'll respond to them through this email. askmichelle@jkmoving.com. I just sent that in the chat window. All right. And like I mentioned, we'll be sending out a follow-up email that will include a link to the replay. So you're welcome to share that with family, friends, anyone who wasn't able to join me live today. And we'll also send a survey that you all can fill out. And it'd be great to hear what your takeaways were, what your favorite part of the webinar was. You know, we're just getting started, and what topics you want to hear about in the future. I mentioned the 10 different topics that we plan on covering, one per week. So they'll be the same time at 12 p.m. Eastern time, the same platform, which is on Zoom. You all will receive emails about the upcoming webinars, and every week will be a different topic. In no particular order that I mentioned them, but if I get some feedback from you all and I see a common theme that everyone wants to talk about a specific thing more than another topic, then I might move that up in the list, and that might be the very next topic that I talk about on the next webinar. Okay. Del says, thank you for all the information. I look forward to next Wednesday. I will share it to all my groups. Excellent. Thank you so much, Del. Glad you were able to join. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining today and interacting and asking your questions. And I hope this was a nice little break from your day. That's really all we're trying to do, is to provide a nice little break, give you some tips, give you some inspiration, create this little community where we can just all come together and share our challenges, share our wins. We want to hear about the positives too, not just, you know, challenges, but of course we want to make sure that whatever you have challenges with, we can address in this series. So if you all have any more questions, remember to email askmichelle@jkmoving.com. I am so glad that I was able to spend this time with you. Thank you so much for joining me live today, and hope you continue to stay safe and healthy, and happy Zooming, everyone. Bye for now.